The shuttle touched down on Pandora's surface just as the twin suns began their slow descent behind the Hallelujah Mountains. Commander James Walker stepped out first, his boots pressing into the soft earth. Behind him came his team of 12 researchers, each one a specialist chosen for this mission. "There it is," said Dr. Elena Rodriguez, pointing toward the dense jungle. "The thermal scans don't lie. There's something massive underneath all that growth." The Na'vi had spoken of this place in whispers. They called it the Silent City, a forbidden zone where even the bravest hunters refused to go. The Amaticaya clan's spiritual leader, Moat, had warned the humans to stay away. She said the Ancient Ones slept there, and they should not be disturbed. But humans were curious creatures. They always had been, from the moment they first looked up at the stars and wondered what lay beyond. This curiosity had brought them across the vast emptiness of space to Pandora. This same curiosity now pulled them toward the Forbidden's ruins. "We're not here to disturb anything," Walker said into his radio, knowing that the Na'vi liaison was listening. "We just want to understand." The response came back crackling with static. "Understanding is not always welcome, Skywalker. Some truths are better left buried." Walker smiled at the nickname the Na'vi had given him. He turned to his team. "Let's move. We have 6 hours of daylight left." The jungle swallowed them whole. Massive trees stretched hundreds of meters into the sky, their branches forming a canopy so thick that only scattered rays of sunlight reached the forest floor. Bioluminescent plants began to glow as the shadows deepened, creating a pathway of soft blue light. Dr. Chun, the team's linguist, noticed strange markings on some of the older trees. "Commander, look at this." Walker approached and studied the symbols carved deep into the bark. They were unlike anything the humans had documented before. Not Na'vi script, not any language from their databases. Something older, something forgotten. "Get images of everything," Walker ordered. "This is already more than we expected to find." They pressed deeper into the jungle. The sounds of wildlife grew quieter the further they went, as if the creatures of Pandora themselves feared this place. Even the ever-present hum of insects faded to nothing. Private Martinez was the first to see the entrance. "Holy Mother of God," he breathed. Before them rose a wall of stone, covered in vines and moss, but unmistakably constructed. Not grown, not natural, but built with purpose and precision. A massive archway stood at its center, its surface decorated with the same mysterious symbols they had seen on the trees. "This changes everything," Rodriguez whispered. "The Na'vi told us they never built permanent structures. This is evidence of a civilization that existed long before them." Walker approached the archway carefully. His instruments detected no radiation, no biological hazards, nothing that should harm them. Yet he felt something in the air, a weight that pressed against his chest and made his heart beat faster. "Should we wait for backup?" asked Lieutenant Park. Walker considered the question. Protocol said yes. Common sense said yes. But something deeper, something fundamentally human, said no. They had come too far to turn back now. "We go in," he decided. "But we stay together. Nobody wanders off." The passage beyond the archway sloped downward. Their flashlights cut through darkness that seemed to drink the light, revealing walls covered in more symbols and elaborate paintings. The images showed tall, slender figures with 4 arms, beings that were neither Na'vi nor human. "A precursor race," Dr. Chen said, his voice filled with wonder. "They were here before anyone. Before the Na'vi, maybe before most life on this moon." The tunnel opened into a vast chamber. The team stood at the edge, their lights barely reaching the distant walls. In the center of the chamber sat a structure unlike anything they'd ever seen, a pyramid of dark stone that seemed to absorb their flashlight beams. But it was the ceiling that took their breath away. Thousands of crystals hung overhead, each one the size of a human fist, arranged in patterns that could only be intentional. As the humans entered the chamber, the crystals began to glow, slowly at first, then brighter and brighter until the entire space was filled with soft golden light. It's responding to us, Rodriguez said. The whole structure is responding to our presence. Walker watched as the light show continued. The crystals pulsed in sequence, creating waves of illumination that flowed across the ceiling like music made visible. It was beautiful beyond words and terrifying in equal measure. "Commander," Dr. Chung called from near the pyramid. "You need to see this." At the base of the pyramid, Chun had found a panel covered in symbols. Unlike the others, these were not merely carved into the surface. They were buttons, switches, controls for something vast and ancient. "Don't touch anything," Walker ordered, though the words felt hollow even as he spoke them. They all knew that someone would have to touch it eventually. That was what humans did. They touched, they experimented, they pushed the boundaries of the unknown until those boundaries shattered. Martinez was setting up recording equipment when he stumbled. His hand shot out to steady himself, and his palm pressed flat against the panel. The effect was immediate. The pyramid hummed to life, vibrating at a frequency that they felt in their bones rather than heard. The crystals overhead blazed brighter, and the symbols on the walls began to move, flowing like liquid fire across every surface. "What did you do?" Park shouted. "I didn't mean to." Martinez stumbled backward, but the damage was done. The pyramid split open at its peak, revealing a chamber within. Inside floated a sphere of pure light, rotating slowly, casting shadows that danced across the walls in patterns that seemed almost alive. And then a voice spoke. It came from everywhere and nowhere, speaking in a language that none of them understood, yet somehow all of them comprehended. It was not words so much as ideas, impressions, emotions that bypassed the ears and went straight to the mind. "Welcome," the voice said. "We have waited long for those who would seek." Walker stepped forward, his fear battling with his curiosity. "Who are you? What is this place?" The sphere pulsed. "We are the Keepers. We built this place to preserve what we learned. And now we have a question for you, seekers from a distant world." "Ask," Walker said. "Why did you come here? You were warned. The children of this world told you to stay away. Yet here you stand." Walker thought about the question. He could give many answers, most of them technical or scientific. But standing in this ancient chamber, facing something that had existed for perhaps millions of years, those answers felt small. "Because we had to know," he said finally. "We're human. We can't leave mysteries unsolved. We can't see a closed door and not wonder what's behind it. It's who we are. It's what drives us across the stars." The sphere brightened, and Walker could have sworn he felt something like approval radiating from it. "Yes," the voice said. "That is the answer we hoped to hear." The chamber fell silent. The team stood frozen, waiting to see what would happen next. Walker's hand rested on his sidearm, though he knew that no weapon they carried could protect them from something like this. The sphere descended from its place within the pyramid, floating down until it hovered at eye level with Walker. Up close, he could see shapes moving within it, images that shifted too quickly for his mind to grasp. "We are the last of our kind," the voice explained. "We once numbered in the billions. Our civilization spanned this galaxy and others. We built wonders that would take your species 1,000,000 years to imagine." "What happened to you?" Rodriguez asked, stepping forward. We grew tired. The sphere's light dimmed slightly. We had answered every question, solved every problem, reached every star. There was nothing left to discover, nothing left to wonder about. And so we faded, one by one, until only this fragment remained. Chun frowned. "But you left this place. You wanted to be found." "Yes, we seeded this world with life, knowing that one day something new might rise, something with the fire we had lost. We left guardians to watch and wait. The children of this world, the ones you call Navi, were shaped to protect this place until the right seekers came." "And we're the right seekers?" Walker asked. The sphere moved closer. "Perhaps the children warned you away. They tried to make you afraid. They used their knowledge of this place to discourage your kind, but you came anyway. You pushed through every barrier, ignored every warning, because you needed to know. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Martinez asked nervously. The voice was silent for a moment. Then it spoke with something that sounded almost like laughter. It is the only thing. Many races have visited this world since we left. The children turned them all away, some with fear, some with wisdom, some with violence. But none before have refused to accept that this place was forbidden. The crystals overhead began to rearrange themselves, forming new patterns. Images appeared in the air, projections of star systems and galaxies and things that the humans could not name. We left knowledge here, the voice continued. Secrets of the universe that we gathered over billions of years. Technologies that could reshape reality itself. Answers to questions your species has not yet learned to ask. Why? Walker demanded. Why leave all this for strangers? Because knowledge that is not shared dies, the sphere replied. We made that mistake. We hoarded our wisdom, kept it for ourselves, and in the end, it meant nothing. What good is knowing everything if there is no one left who wonders? The images in the air changed. They showed humans now, but not as they were. They showed cities floating among the clouds, ships that traveled between galaxies in the blink of an eye, beings of light and energy that had once been flesh and blood. This is what you could become, the voice said. This is the gift we offer. But there is a condition. Walker tensed. What condition? You must never stop asking questions. You must never accept that all mysteries have been solved. The moment you decide that you know everything is the moment you begin to die. This is what happened to us. Do not repeat our mistake. Dr. Chun laughed softly. That will not be a problem for us. Humans have been asking questions since we first discovered fire. We will never stop. The sphere pulsed brighter. That is what we believed. That is why we chose you. Chose us? Park asked. What do you mean chose us? Other races have reached this world before. Some came with great armies. Some came with promises of peace. Some came seeking power. We turned them all away. But when we watched your kind arrive, we saw something different. The images showed the first human ships entering Pandora's orbit, years ago. They showed scientists cataloging every new species. They showed children looking up at the alien sky with wonder in their eyes. Your species does terrible things, the voice admitted. You destroy. You consume. You fight among yourselves for reasons that make no sense. But you also create. You dream. You look at the impossible and say, why not? Walker thought of Earth, of all the problems his species had caused and all the wonders they had built. He thought of the wars and the art, the pollution and the poetry, the destruction and the dreams. We're not perfect, he said quietly. Neither we, the voice replied. Perfection is a death sentence. It means you have nowhere left to grow. Your imperfection is your greatest strength. It means you will always have something to fix, something to improve, something to figure out. The sphere began to rise back toward the pyramid. But it stopped halfway and spoke once more. Take what we have left here. Study it. Use it wisely or foolishly. It does not matter. What matters is that you use it. What matters is that you grow. What matters is that somewhere in this cold universe, the fire of curiosity still burns. Wait, Walker called out. Will we see you again? The sphere paused. We do not know. We are very old and very tired. But thanks to you, we have something we had lost long ago. What's that? Hope. The sphere disappeared into the pyramid, and the structure sealed itself shut. But the crystals remained lit, and the walls still glowed with knowledge waiting to be discovered. The team stood in silence for a long moment. Then Rodriguez began to laugh, a sound of pure joy and disbelief. Do you understand what just happened? She said. We just inherited the knowledge of an ancient civilization. Everything they learned, everything they built, it's all here for us. Walker nodded slowly. We need to report this. But we need to be careful about how we do it. This knowledge could change everything. It could save us or destroy us, depending on how we use it. The Na'vi, Chun said suddenly. We need to tell them. They've been guarding this place for thousands of years. They deserve to know the truth. Walker agreed. He activated his communicator. This is Walker to base. We found something. Something incredible. We're going to need a lot more people. And we're going to need to have a very long conversation with our Na'vi friends. As they began the long climb back to the surface, Walker thought about what the ancient voice had said, about curiosity, about questions, about the fire that burned within the human spirit. They had come to this world as strangers, sometimes as enemies, often as fools. They had made mistakes that they could never fully repair. But they had also brought something precious, something that even a civilization billions of years old had recognized and valued. They had brought their endless, unstoppable need to know. When they emerged from the ruins, the sky was full of stars. Walker looked up at them and felt something shift inside him. Those stars no longer seemed quite so distant. Those mysteries no longer seemed quite so impossible. Somewhere out there, other ruins waited. Other secrets lay buried. Other ancient voices hoped to be heard. And humans would find them, because that was what humans did. They wondered. They explored. They reached out into the darkness and refused to be afraid. The fire of curiosity burned bright in their hearts, and nothing in the universe could extinguish it. Nothing.